Yes. Welcome to this Time Out with Marcus Ekure. Yes, it's another promising edition. And I know so many of us who are tuned in right now can't just wait to get down to action because, you know, here at METV, we believe so much in action. You know, one of our guests some time ago once said, if you are not ready for reality, if you are not serious and you are not ready for difficult questions, then you are not for Marcus Ekure TV. So we are here and we have some special people with us. You know, I'm going to be introducing them shortly, but before I do that, let me bring to your notice what we shall be trashing today. Yes, with just 48 hours from now, or even less than, we'll be heading down to the gubernatorial election in Delta State, which so many persons have been yearning for. You know, the presidential election has just been concluded, you know, though they are in the courts as we speak, and we do hope that, you know, the court yield a very good outcome for the election that's just been concluded, the presidential election. But while we do that, our primary concern right now is the state gubernatorial election. And Delta State appears to be our constituency. Now, there's so much conflicting shadows in the air already. A lot of people, you know, thinking, oh, in which direction is this pendulum going to swing? Now, that constitutes the topic for tonight's discourse. Delta 2023 Guber election. On whose side should the pendulum swing? And joining me tonight to have this great discussion, I have some great comrades in the house representing the various major political parties we have in Delta State. First, I want to introduce the person of, Comrade Eyakware Moses Dara. He is the member of a media committee, Delta State PDP Campaign Council. He is here. Moses Dara, good to have you on set. And
good evening.
Secondly, we have Moses Dara is representing the PDP, the person of Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori, who is the flag bearer for the PDP. Secondly, we have the person of Councillor Dennis Agori. Councillor Dennis Agori is a public affairs analyst, author, teacher, and president, Africa Global Youth Foundation. You are welcome to this program, Dennis.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, then we also have the representative of the All Progressive Congress, the APC, representing the person of His Excellency Olorogu Barrister Ovi Omo Agege, in the person of Comrade Enis Ogegere. He's not yet with us, but I think he's going to join us along the line as the discussion continues. Then we have a fourth person here on set who is going to be acting as a mediating or a moderating variable in this discussion. He's not that person, but the person of Comrade Benjamin Amioku. He's a social crusader, entrepreneur, and public affairs analyst. Yes.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, very quickly, let's get down to business. Delta 2023. Now, to start with, we're going to be creating a platform for the various representing these various candidates to actually tell us about their candidates. And we're going to be giving them just 2 minutes to do that. In 2 minutes or 3 minutes at most, you're going to be telling us about your candidates and why you think Deltans should vote for your candidates, because this program is being followed and being watched all over the world. Deltans are watching you, so you're going to be giving Deltans reasons why you think your candidate is the best. But before you do that, I'm going to be asking Amioku to share his thoughts, create an overview, on, what he thinks about the 2023 general election and the various candidates who are contesting. So, Amioku, what do you really think?
Yeah, thank you very much. I have taken time to view the 2023 Guber election in Delta State. It's actually a kind of mixed bag, but you know, my analysis is that the front runner candidates, you know, can be classified. We can use three major perspectives to classify them, and one of it is one based on the primordial perspective, the transactionary perspective, and the transformational perspective of leadership. And so in the light of that, you know, when we say primordial perspective, some persons are of the opinion that it's our turn. I think we expanded the political lexicon in this country when one of the presidential candidates said, Emilokun, it's my turn. So I think that's one of the perspectives that is driving a candidature of a particular political party. Then we have the transactionary perspective, and I see that as a group of politicians who are trying to capture state power for the purpose of self-gratification. In this context, the politicians, sometimes they are like fishes, they cannot survive outside water. So they have taken time to congregate in a particular political party to capture state power for self-aggrandizement. And at the end of the day, they just may want to throw tokenism to the people as their form of developmental strategy. But then the third perspective is transformational leadership, where the people is the focus of governance, and the people will expect, you know, transformation from all fronts, from infrastructure, the Human Development Index, putting in place systems that will work for the overall growth and development of the states. I think those are the perspectives I think this election will be all about at the end of the day.
Okay, Comrade Amiku, thank you so much for your fantastic analysis there. You know, I want to come over to the person of Comrade Moses Dara. You know, you have heard Comrade Amiku. He has just created the kind of a framework, you know, which he titled, he gave three components there. He talked about the primordial criterion. He made mention of the transactionary criterion, and the other one he talked about the transformative criterion. So where do you think of this qualification your candidate fits, Comrade Moses Dara?
Good evening, and I want to once more greet you and
welcome.
To speak on this topic tonight on where we stand, and the person that we stand to represent Delta State in 2023, which is the person, Right Honorable Sheriff Francis Oruhwedo Oborebori, who is the incumbent Speaker of the Delta State House Assembly. Well, from the leading political parties in Delta State, PDP is the only party with the lofty agenda of rotation, where everyone in Delta State has the opportunity to occupy the position of governorship. Beginning from 1999, when James Onanefe Bori became the governor of Delta State, contributed immensely to the development of Delta State of the PDP. You know, he built major bridges, the Bomandi Bridge. He also established three major institutions where you have the three polytechnics, Delta State Polytechnic, Ogara, Ozoro, and Ogwachuku. We also established the College of Physical Health Education in Mosoga. Apart from this roadmap, Udwan from Delta South, he also did massively well, built Asaba Airport, also established the free health maternity for underage, which is age 0 to 5 pregnant women. There are also the scholarship scheme and the well-organized transport scheme for Deltans. Then came the Delta North, where you have the person of Senator Dr. Arthur Okowa, He has also performed very well. Today, Delta State boasts is, I think, one of the only state in Nigeria with 4 state universities. Okay, Okowa established 3 brand new universities. Then we also have the quality technical education and all that. I bet you Okowa has also performed very well. So the rotational arrangement established by the forefathers of, which is founding fathers of PDP, is now the turn of Delta Central. So I'm speaking from his own perspective, looking at people saying it's our turn and all that, which is the Miloko. But now it's not the turn of Delta Central, of which Okowa also maintained that aspect. It has been given to a governorship candidate, a person of Right Honorable Francis Orokwedo Oborevori, who is also eminently qualified to take over from where Okowa will stop in May 29, 2023. So from all indices, we are confident that the person of Right Honorable Sheriff Orokwedo Oborevori is going to win the election. Thank you.
Okay, Comrade Moses, I thank you so much for your comments. Deltas are watching, they are listening to you. You've just spoken and you've touched on a whole lot of issues. You started by creating a background of that's the historical development of your political party, the PDP, from the time of James Onanefe Bori and all that. But there is perception in the air, you know, today, which suggests that PDP, you know, has actually, under the leadership of Uduaghan and that of Okowa, has done very poorly, and that the developmental landmarks that you can actually pride on in Delta State today, the foundation of it still, you know, lie in the work of James Onanefe Bori, and from the time of Uduaghan down, that no significant achievement has been recorded. And there's even some insinuation that Okowa's administration has failed woefully. You know, what do you have to say about that?
That's the people peddling such rumors are enemies of Delta State. Okowa has performed very well. I can speak. I'm not a public servant in the government. I'm not an SA or SSA, but I've taken time to study Okowa right from when it became SSG, and even when it became the Director General of the PDP campaign in 2007. I was one of the media aides to Uduaghan and Okowa at that time. In fact, Okowa is very intelligent and he has the roadmap of Delta State in his hand. So when he came on board, he began with massive development of community roads. Okay, here in Abraka, I say in Abraka, and there were 7 roads that Okowa developed just within the period of 4 years. There was some very bad roads where you have a College Road, NUT Road, you have the Jehovah Witness Road, you have the Winners Road, you have
Comrade Moses Dara, please,
yes.
Can I just cut you there? Because when the issue of those Abraka roads came up the other time, there were some insinuations that Okowa was actually not the one who built those roads. People were mentioning one Okogu, Bright Okogu, who was the director of budget as at that time, that Bright Okogu was responsible for those, you know, connecting roads with Abraka.
Okogu only built Agbara Road behind Campus 1, then the one of Umono Road. Those are the 2 roads built by Okogu, who was the director of works in the federal ministry.
Now, talking about roads, which you just mentioned, today, Delta State appears to be one of the states with the worst kind of road network. And we're talking about durable roads. There are no durable roads in Delta State. And you hear people often accusing Okowa about tagging himself as the master of roads. And there appears to be no evidence to show regarding that. would you really say that there are good roads in Delta State as we speak? Because talking about from Warri to Agbo, at some point from Abraka to Agbo, you cannot even connect Agbo anymore. You talk about Ugeli to Asaba Road, the whole road structure is bad, and you're talking about road. What do you have to say about that?
There was an article I wrote recently on APC's bad roads in Delta State. The roads people mistake for PDP, which is state roads, are actually federal government roads. Let me mention some of the federal government roads in Delta State that are very bad. From Benin down to Warri is a federal road. Then from Amokbe to Eku down to Abraka to Agbo is the federal government road. The federal government, Buhari released 80 billion for that road. And in 2019, the governorship candidate of APC, Senator Vioma Gege, came out to announce to the world that that is a constituency road. And Buhari released that money. It's there on the newspapers, 80 billion naira. And as I speak with you, that road has been abandoned. So the road then from Warri to Ugeli to Bayelsa is also a federal road. Then from Benin to Asaba is also a federal road. The only state road that seems to be under construction is the one from PTI down to Eku, which Okowa began, which is Udwan's government began. Then from Ugeli down to Asaba, which is under massive construction. Those are the major state roads. But the other minor roads within the states actually have been taken care of, and other bridges that Okowa has also.
We are going to have other persons to respond to some of these issues raised by you just now. But just before that, I want to come over to Councillor Dennis. Councillor Dennis, 2023 Guber election, on whose side should the pendulum swing? You are representing Kempela here, as a staunch Labour Party, supporter. What do you really have to say to Deltans? Why do you think Deltans should support Kempela? Why do you think Deltans should vote for Labour Party in this Saturday election, just 48 hours from now?
Let's start from the. Thank you very much for having me here. And I agree there. Let's start from the Arise TV debate. This is the most recent thing that just happened. When I keep telling people that you cannot separate candidates from their party, people think that. Now, if you notice what happened now, it is very, very clear that the way candidates behave is in alignment with their party ideology. Now, you see that Kempela, he has always honored all invitations to speak and to tell Deltans on what he plans to do. So that he is a listening leader. He listens and is accountable. Because if you are not accountable, you will find all excuse. And some will say they were not informed on time. That is the issue of emergency. As a leader, Kempela has that ability to attend to emergency issues. That's very, very important. Then, on the aspect of because from Amiokuna, there are three things. On the aspect of primordial sentiment, there's a primordial sentiment that, yes, it is the turn of the youth. It's youth to look on. It is youth to look on. And Labour Party is a party built with two things. One side of the coin is the sovereign will of the people, and the other side of the coin is the leadership model of Peter Obi. So it is the turn of the youth to take over and the turn of the youth to retire the old parties, PD, APC. That's on the primordial. So when you come to the primordial, Kempela is there because he represents the youth. Then when you come on the aspect of transactional politics, well, I wouldn't, we are still there, but it's not, the transactional politics is not this share the money or look everywhere. No. The transaction we are having with Labour Party, the transaction we are having with Tempela is this. We are sending you there. Just as we trusted Peter Obi, we are trusting you. So we already have a transaction with you. The transaction is for him to change Delta State and make it a better place for us. So it is not for individuals, but the transaction is a contract. Then on the part of transformation, the Tempela's campaign and his vision is centered on a three roadmap: righteousness, harmony, and prosperity. Righteousness in the sense that doing things right, the rule of law, and shunning impunity, accountability. And he's displaying it already by submitting himself for scrutiny, submitting himself to be questioned at every point in time. Doing the right in the rule of law, not doing this because you want to target this opponent. If the opponent is not there, you will not come out to speak. No, he's submitting himself to the people. That's it. Then once he does that, he goes to harmony. In harmony, you have to create peace. You have to ensure that there is security. And he has a roadmap. Of course, we in line with what's going to be taking place at the federal level, believing that that Peter Obi will reclaim his mandate. We want to restructure policing in such a way that we also have a community police. Once that is put in place and there is security, then it will now engender prosperity. And from the vision of Tempela, there are 8 drivers of that prosperity. I will just point the ones I can remember. First of all, it's talking about the living wage that is going to increase it to 100,000 naira. Because as you can see, a bag of rice presently in Nigeria under the APC regime is 35,000 naira. That's Nigeria rice, 35,000 naira. There is so much inflation, and the minimum wage is 30,000. So it's unrealistic, and it's not something that can take care of hold. It's not a take home. Then number 2, it talks about the autonomy of local government, which is local government development, autonomy of local government, which everybody has been clamoring for. It is there. Then we talked about social investment scheme. Here will be giving ₦1 million rest, I'm right with that, to 100 persons in every local government to boost their business or to do a startup. Then it talks about the housing scheme where under mortgage, people can buy a house. Once they are built, of course, like an estate, then they come and they buy. From there, they can spread the payment, and then they own their own house. Then there is issue of oil and gas utility. Instead of gas flaring, let's utilize our oil, and then of course power generation.
Okay, Councillor Dennis. Councillor Dennis, I think I'll have to hurt you here a little, so we can because I've just discovered that Enis Ogegere is on board. Enis, can you hear me? Enis.
But I'm not sure anyway.
Yes. We are going to continue with you, Councillor Dennis. I want to ask you a few questions, okay? I want to ask you particularly, Enis, are you on board?
I'm on board. I'm here.
Okay, fine. You're welcome on board. Now, I want to ask you, Councillor. Councillor, can you hear me? Okay, Councillor, people have these feelings that Kempela is just coming from nowhere. You know, and I, for one, I'm a man who also believes that no man can promise you of a better tomorrow who has no good past. So the past of any leader is very significant to the future, okay? Now, some persons are of the opinion, or they believe there's this feeling in the air that Kempela does not have the requisite political will and experience to actually galvanize Delta State from the delicate interface it's currently facing at the moment and all that. What do you really have to say about that, talking about the past of Kempela? Who is Kempela and where is Kempela coming from? I think Deltans will be interested to know.
Kempela is an educated Nigerian citizen from Ugiri.
Okay.
Local government.
Okay.
He's an economist. He attended the prestigious government college.
Okay.
Government college, Ugiri.
Okay.
Marina.
Okay.
Which the government is also part.
Okay.
And then he is an alumni of Uniben. He read economics and from Uniben.
Okay.
And then, of course, he's a businessman, he's an investor, and he has been doing well in real estate.
Okay.
Now, Kempela, the first time I met Kempela should be around 2000 and something. When he came to contest as a chairman of the Ughelli South there. When he came from US, just came back, and you could see the way he was doing things. And of course, he didn't fit in into the Nigeria kind of politics. And so
so why do you think he will be able to fit into the system right now and solve the problems? Yes.
I like that. Because of the new model, the new mode that's now in town, Labour Party and Peter Obi, they have the same style of leadership. They have the same belief on the sovereign will of the people. They have the same platform of political re-engineering of our political culture. And that is why we actually have the mandate of the people to run under Labour Party. If
okay.
You would have seen the light of the day.
All right. Okay, Councillor Dennis, I'm going to come back to you. Thank you. I now have with me Comrade Enis Ogegere. Enis Ogegere, we are still discussing on the topic 2023 Guber Race, on whose side should the pendulum swing. And Deltans are listening to us. They are watching you. They are watching every one of us and what we are saying today. Why do you think, Enis Ogegere, that Deltans should vote for your candidate? They should vote for the person of Olorogu, that's His Excellency Olorogu Barrister Ofioma Agege in this forthcoming Guber election holding this Saturday 18th. Why do you think Deltans should vote for him? Can you convince Deltans?
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Marcus Ekure, for according me the privilege to speak to Deltans. And on the question raised, I believe Senator Ofioma Agege is the man that can do it for Deltans. And what are my reasons? You know, it is evident that Delta is in dire need of rescue. And it is important to let Deltans know also that there are deficits in infrastructure. There are a lot of things that happen wrong, that people now begin to seek for the alternative. And I find the alternative in Senator Ofioma Agege. And now, in seeking the alternative, there are indices that are considered or that people are looking up to. Competence, scorecard, trust, and manifesto. On manifesto, every one of them contesting, they have a manifesto. But the question is, who is in the best position to bring his manifesto? Because one is to have a manifesto. The second one is for you to bring it to reality, to curb the abnormalities which have been created in the past. Now, that is where Senator Ofioma Agege come in. And in that area, without wasting our time, I wouldn't want to touch on competence because everybody is in public domain that is competent. And scorecard, his scorecard is all over the places. As a senator representing that, and as a senator, we expect two things from him majorly: the legislative business, how he is faring, and also in execution of his constituency project. Senator Ofioma Agege has done marvelously well in this regard. For instance, or to be specific, in the area of electricity, Senator Ofioma Agege has influenced more than 400 transformers installed and functioning across Delta Central, the 8 local governments that made up Delta Central. Apart from that, on electricity, if you come to head, you see Senator Ofioma Agege footprint also. If you go to Agbara, Umabuwa, you see primary health center that was built by him. If you go to Ugbusi village in Udu, if you go to Obubu in Ughelli South, if you go to Ugogo, If you go to Saple, you see primary health center built and furnished by Senator Obi Omagige. Then apart from that, the area that impressed me most in these days in the Senate is the construction of ultra-modern ICT center in the 8 local government that made up Central. If you go to St. Kevin's Grammar School in Kokori, Elad, if you go to Ororope Secondary School, if you go to St. Itas Grammar School in Saple, Ekpa Secondary School, if you go to Omiya Secondary School, you see ICT Center were built and furnished by Senator Obioma Agege as a constituency project. That is aside street lights, reconstruction and construction of school building, Urugu Polytechnic, and the rest. These are a lot of scorecard that he was able to influence as constituency project to his constituency and for the benefit of his people. Now, that is not even the issue. The major problem we are having in our political system today is the issue of trust that has killed patriotism. You will agree with me that in the course of governance, the people elected as governors or into government, they are not the only one to ensure that good governance is installed. The people are also part of the government, but oftentimes trust have lost to the extent that only those at the helm of affairs. And why was the loss in trust? It is because of misgovernance and a lot of things that happen oftentimes. And how do we reinstall that trust? Senator Obi Omagige, through his track record or his antecedent, legislative antecedent, has been able to reinstall this trust. You can go back, you can say, because before he came in 2015, we have had senators that are served in the same position. Can you hear me, Marcus?
Very well, very well. I can hear you. You have just 1 minute. You have 1 minute to conclude, please.
We have had people that are served in the same position. But in his own time, he was able to make the difference to say, Senate is not a place where you go to and you sleep. You go there, you made your voice heard, and you bring the concern of your people to the floor of the Senate, and the dividend is brought back home.
Okay.
Omagige has simply done this, and I believe restoring trust back to the people should put in a poll taller than every other contestant that in the race.
Okay. Ennis, I'll have to stop you here. While I come over to the Sheriff Oborori's representative, the person of Moses Dara. Moses Dara, please, debtors are waiting to hear you. When you spoke the other time, you spoke more about the party structure. You talked more about the Boris achievement. You talked about Okowa's and Uduaga's achievement. But I think at this point, debtors will be willing, to hear from you. Your thoughts on your candidate, Sheriff Oborowori. Why do you think debtors should vote for Sheriff on Saturday, 2023?
Initially, I was critical about various propaganda about Sheriff, where people were saying all sorts of things. But I had the opportunity to meet one-on-one with Right Honorable Sheriff Oborowori to interact with him on his desire to continue where the governor talk in May 29th. So I discovered that the first one is that he's going to do more. Though Okowa has informed that he's going to do more. So I now asked him, what is the more that you are going to do for Delta State? There was a word he mentioned, that his government is going to be an inclusive government. It's going to be the government of the youth. The mere interaction with him, myself and my team, in fact, you will give it to Sheriff Oborowori. He has the passion to ensure massive development for Delta State. In fact, I want to assure you that Sheriff's government is going to be the government of youth, for the youth and for the entire Delta. It's not going to be a sectional government. It's not going to be a government of Osubi. It's not going to be a government where everyone will say this and that. There are so many misconceptions about the man. So when you see that there is so much gang up against just one man who means well, you just want the man. Because there are so many misconceptions, many rumors saying about loan, approval, and all this. So I asked myself, that what is even the total debt of Delta State, the debt of Delta State, so far that is about 200 billion or thereabout, is lesser than other. Delta State is not one of the most indebted. And there's this conception when the same a legislature, which is the Senate, the same Deputy Senate President, which is President of Oviomagege, has also approved 79 trillion naira for Buhari. So will you compare 79 trillion naira to 200 billion that Delta State is owing? I look at all that misconception and the attacks on all that, I discovered that the man who has the passion, who is not a sectional leader, who is not tribalistic, who will be a governor for the entire Delta State, Okowa has done very well. And Sheriff Oborebori is going to continue from the good work of...
Comrade Moses, I want to ask you here, what key thing can you actually point to as the nucleus or as a nucleus in the agenda of Sheriff Oborebori, when he becomes a governor, or if he eventually becomes a governor after this election on Saturday? What can you really hold to, one significant thing in his agenda that you can hold on to now?
The last part of the more agenda has to do with peace and security. And the peace and security is going to encompass every aspect of development in Delta State. One, there is peace and security. There is going to be foreign investors and others. There's going to be massive development, even in the rural area and in the cities. I think the peace and development has been the nucleus of his agenda. For Okowa to have succeeded for the past 7 years has been the cooperation of Sheriff, who has piloted the Delta State House of Assembly as a speaker for the past 6 years. And his cooperation, I believe, is also going to enjoy it for the next legislature. So having that kind of a working relationship, I think is going to be a better state of our dream.
Okay. At this point, I think I have to come back to Comrade Benjamin Amioku. Comrade Benjamin, you've heard the various political parties, you've heard their representatives, you've heard their take, and what they said about their candidates. And Moses Dara repeatedly has hammered on, a point that Delta State PDP under the watch of Okowa has actually succeeded. So Amioku, what do you really have to say about that? Talking about Sheriff building on the agenda of Okowa, the success of Okowa, analyzing and looking at Delta State today, would you say Delta State has succeeded, Benjamin Amioku? What do you really have to say about that?
I must be very frank in my own opinion that given the fact that Delta State has been experiencing consistent democracy for the past 24 years, if this is all what we have to show for development, we have not done well. Juxtaposing the infrastructural development in Delta State alongside other neighboring states in either some of the states in the South region and even in the Southwest, especially a state like Lagos, which Delta State is supposed to be a contemporary, and even Rivers State here, road infrastructure in Delta State is very poor. Even when we talk about state roads in Delta State, we cannot compare the state roads, the development of state roads in Delta State to that of Rivers State, to that of Rivers State, because that's what I know about. I've not been to Akwa Ibom State. So I don't want to talk things that I don't have factual analysis about. 7, and what has Rivers State has experienced in 2007 to 2023 now, you know that Delta State is nowhere when it's compared to infrastructure. And even if you look at the state schools that have been created in Delta State and their infrastructural development compared to some of the schools that were equally developed in Rivers State, we are equally nowhere. So I want to believe that if we are looking at that trajectory, the PDP has to its developmental agenda to there should be a better visualization of what we should be expecting in the Sheriff Obrego government when it comes to infrastructure and human development index. We still experience a situation where we have poor healthcare facilities in Delta State. We all go to public healthcare facilities in Delta State. It has not actually been a fantastic experience when it comes to the what you call the patient to medical ratio is still very, 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 very low. And so when we look at all of these things, I believe there must be a strategy to upscale, and it should give us a clear mental picture of what that will be. I'm there to see a very clear mental picture of the policy direction of another PDP government in Delta State. And I think this is what their strategies will still have to work on, because I don't think the people of Delta State are still satisfied with what has, in my own personal opinion.
Councillor Dennis, I'm coming back to you just now. You have listened to Moses Dara of the PDP. You have also listened to Enis Ogegere of the APC. You know, what do you have to say? Do you have any reaction to your comments?
Of course, I wouldn't react to the one of PDP. That one is a done deal. I think there is nothing on that has happened under the PDP of Okowa, which is said prosperity for all Deltans. We didn't see any prosperity for all Deltans. And then talking about Sheriff, if you notice, they came up with a slogan, Ukodo. Ukodo go reach everybody. If you notice, they're not using that Ukodo as campaign again because it's a bad ideology. When you say Ukodo go reach everybody, they were actually also talking about the sharing formula, which they are known for. So I don't really want to dwell on PDP because it's at this old baggage and they need to leave. Now, talking about Okowa, Agege, I want to ask some very questions because I've been having a lot of strategic meetings and I also need to leave. But I want to drop this. So start with the issues I have with this Agege. Agege personally is a good person, yes. And then he may have displayed capacity. But like I always tell people, education does not necessarily make you a good man. It can make you a learned devil instead of a stupid devil. The point is this. He's intelligent, fine. He has capacity, fine. But the platform he's coming under has so reduced his capacity to act in some areas. For example, it's on record that that his party, coming even down to himself, supported Ruga to take lands from our people and give to Fulani herdsmen. Supported Ruga. Number 2, the EndSARS. They deny that EndSARS ever took place in terms of the shooting at the Lekki toll gate. They deny that the shooting ever took place. That's 2. Then number 3, the issue of social media. In fact, whatever APC at the top has brought down the neck of people, Agege has always supported through his media people because he speaks through them, and they have always defended him, defended those policies. Funny enough, the highest one that has been done was the infamous voting against electronic transmission of results. He succeeded in writing being the chairman of the Electoral Act, which we applaud him for. But there is something we will not forget. He voted against electronic transmission of results. Now, the question I want to ask anybody that will say that, the party platform does not really matter is this. Where they should tell us where the decisions of the party structure on top has been refuted by Adide. In what area has the national said one thing and he himself said, no, this is not the favor of my people. I cannot go with this plan. In what area has Adide done that? Let's point it out. Because if you are asking me that party is supreme, I will not mention Ruben Izeze, who represented Ugele South, is it Ugele South, yes, constituency? Yes, in House Delta State Assembly. He has always been at loggerheads with Sheriff Oborewori, because even when the party will say do this, he will go there and he will do what is in line with what his own people want. And that's why those of us from Ugele South, we've always supported him. If not for the issue of rotation that, you cannot always go again. That's the reason. If not, Izeze has always stood against his party when it's not in favor of the people. But can Adede do that? Has he had an antecedent of standing alone or standing different from what his party says? No. And that is what has even played out in this debate by him not coming for the debate. He has just behaved like the typical in the local, because they believe that if not Sheriff is not there, he cannot be there, which is the ideology of the cabal politicians, the oligarchy, PDP and APC. They think they are always fighting each other, leaving the people. So you realize that they are going monopolistic. It's either APC or PDP. Why can't it be Labour Party?
Okay, Comrade Ennis. Comrade Ennis.
I'm here.
Okay, Councillor, I want you to react to some of the things, some of the issues raised by Councillor just now. Can you do that?
Definitely. I will react to some comments made by Councillor Dennis.
Okay.
And also, I will love to critique our brother Moses Dara.
Okay.
When you say more of what Okowa has done, then I begin to ask myself, what has Okowa really done? Now, one of the things that bedevil Okowa's government is discontinuity from whatever that Emmanuel Uduaga represented. We all are aware, or it is not a secret, that in as much as we judge Dr. Emmanuel Uduaga government to be bad or below the bed, we also have some good parts. Now, is it that when you say more of what Okowa has done? Is it that Sheriff Oborewori is coming to, abandon more projects? Because it is no secret that when Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa came on board, he abandoned a lot of projects which billions of naira that belongs to Delta were expended on. Like the transportation scheme that was well crafted and created by Emmanuel Uduaga was abandoned. We are even asking, where are the buses? Where are those big buses that have made transportation means to be very easier and cheaper in Delta? Is it that Oborewori is coming to do that? More of it, or we should expect more of it? Where are those Warri Industrial Park that Uduaga started? What of IPP projects? Is it that Oborewori is coming to abandon now? Now, that's just it. Now, if you come to Ugele, you talk about road, that Okowa has done well in road, and I feel such comment is laughable. This is because I have traversed the south and the east and central, the south, the north and central of the state, and I find out that Delta does not have roads. Come to Ugele, almost all the only road that are pliable were the road that were constructed by Samuel Ajogbe of the NDDC. The other road, they are death trap. A lot I can mention, from Udwori, from Ogenevita and the rest, Upper Officery and all that. Now, they are doing cosmetic work. I call it cosmetic because I know that in 3 months' time, what they are just doing now to gain favor for electoral, for election, they will be washed out by the next rainy season. I know that. Now, let us come from that. That is not what we'll go in. But Councillor Dennis, he talked about Ruga. Then he talked about NSAS. He talked about, I think, let me just speak on the Ruga. You know, when the issue of Ruga came on board, it was brought by a lawmaker, and the process were just there. Now, people are supposed to look at Ruga from different angles. Let me speak as a Nigerian now. What is Ruga? And why was the issue of Ruga brought aboard? The issue of Ruga was brought aboard as a result of incessant invasion and killings by the herdsmen. Now, it is expected of every government to provide solutions to end such abnormalities in a society. And the issue of Ruga came up. What is Ruga? Today, I begin to tell people that Ruga is beyond the politics that they brought into it. It was politicized by the opposition, and the Nigeria brought into it without looking at the context that it was made of. Even if it was not made, even if they were on that tune, do we have time to search and remove all those bombs that are or the end result that is aimed at? Now, this is Ruga to me. I've been to a state like Calabar, where you have Ogudu cattle rash. Now, that is same is ration. Ruga would have been given its right context for it to say through in order to end the menace of herdsmen. But Ruga was politicized from the religious angle, regional, and all that was brought in, and they killed it. Today,
Ennis, you have just 1 more minute. 1 more minute.
Now, Ruga is not a basis, or Ruga should not be used as a basis to choosing who govern Delta. Neither should NSAS that happen all over the country, maybe where 1 or 2 killing people died, or possibly in Lagos, something happened and all that should be used in Delta because it happened under the APC. This is Delta, and Delta, whatever that concerns Delta should be within Delta. You don't use NSAS to weigh whoever becomes Delta, because Agege was not in Lagos when NSAS happened.
Okay. Ennis, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
I can hear you.
On an end note, because time is actually running out, we'll be rounding up very shortly. I want to take your final words, and part of your final words, I want to also ask more like 2 in 1. I want you to submit to us, to Deltans, why you think Deltans should not vote for the other candidates, but your candidate. Why they should not vote for the Labour Party candidate and the PDP candidate. Quickly, you have just 2 minutes to do that.
Well, for the PDP, they have tried their best. Deltans have seen their best, and we have seen enough.
It's occasion of the APC. So Delta
infrastructural delay, deficit, and what is happening in Delta is obvious that Deltans cannot continue with the PDP from their, colossal misfits in all aspects, from housing, roads, schools. If you go to school, come and see our pupils sitting on the floor to learn. Understand? So for the PDP, they are out of it. Then for Ken Pella of the Labour Party, which our brother Councillor Dennis represents, I believe he doesn't have that much needed experience or track record that can, that the people can trust on to, further bring it forth to govern a state that is as complicated as Delta. It doesn't possess that experience. Now, for Senator Ovie Omagege, it is abundantly clear from becoming executive assistant to James Ibori, where he acquired some experience going to commissioner.
Comrade Ennis, Comrade Ennis, you've already spoken to Deltans about some of these things. You are just mentioning about the person of Oloro Guber Race of your mag again now. I just want to point something to you. Do you not have any fear, or does the APC not have any concern concerning the emergence, that's the Ogborus factor? Don't you think it might affect the chances of Agege in any way, especially in data central?
He has Ogboru emergence as a gubernatorial candidate of the APGA have nothing to be afraid of. Reason be that our electoral system, or there is a kind of reform that the people not trust on, that not give power to the people. And if you watch the presidential election clearly, you see that the people are now more exposed. They now understand the system to the extent that they go to vote not because you are one general or not because you are one. They know why they not come out to vote. They know why they not come out to vote. They know that this is what we are coming out to vote for. So it's not something to be afraid of.
And now let me come over to Moses Dara now. Moses Dara, I want to get your final submission. And in your final submission, I also want you to do what Ennis just did now. Can you speak to Deltans why you think Deltans should not vote for the other two political parties here present with you?
Yeah, thank you very much. Deltans should reject the APC and Labour Party. First of all, the APC, the person of Senator Vioma Gege said because Sheriff Oborevori was not in the debate of Arise TV, he will not attend. Sheriff Oborevori that was attacked 24 hours ago, who possibly must have been indisposed to attend that debate. It shows he has no agenda for Delta State. He's a deceiver, he's a sectional leader, somebody that has concentrated all his major projects in his village, Orogun. They proposed the law school, the polytechnic, the JAM center, the airspace school, and step down substation, which is a power plant, all in Orogun. Where are the other projects? Is he only Orogun that voted him? So a sectional leader of such cannot be trusted. Then that of Labour Party, Ken Pella, who is rightly even from my own kingdom, Oginimbo, you know, there are reports that he was indicted with a 100 million project that he was asked to do that could not. So Deltans should not entrust their votes to people who could not represent them very well. So APC is not an option. The crisis that Nigerians are facing, the hunger, scarcity of cash, scarcity of fuel and all that are occasioned by APC. In fact, when Buhari was to be impeached to ensure that Nigeria move in a smooth way, it was the APC led by Omar Gege that disrupted that smooth impeachment by moving the maize from the National Assembly. So such a person cannot be trusted with power. It's a Maradona. Deltans don't need a Maradona to be their governor.
Okay. Just before I hurt you there, Comrade Moses Dara, what do you really have to say about the Ogborus factor? Don't you have some? Does your party not have some level of elements of concern that the Ogborus factor might work against you people?
The Ogboru factor will work against Omar Gege, not Sheriff Oborevori. In fact, Ogboru is contesting because Omar Gege betrayed him. So it's a pain time. Ogboru will pay back Omar Gege. Will you come to Abraka to campaign with APC? No, because the people in Abraka knew that Omar Gege betrayed Ogboru. That is a typical
I think at this point, we have to come back to Councillor Dennis. Councillor Dennis will need your end notes, and you make it 2-in-1. Just like other two persons have spoken, you also tell Deltans why they should not vote for the candidates of the other two, that's your opponents here present with you. Now you have 2 minutes to do that, just 2 minutes, yeah.
First of all, I think if you want to know why they can't vote for Agege, go and listen to what PDP are saying. If you want to know why they should not vote for PDP, go and listen to APC. So I wouldn't want to go on that again. Now, and the summary of it all is in what happened in the debate. Both of them did not show up. Both of them will not show up for Delta because it is the old order. They behave the same way. Agege and Sheriff will always behave the same way, just like their Oga at the top. You see, Sheriff behave like the typical Atiku, and Agege behave like the typical Shagaba, who believes that he has already won the election. He looks at Delta State as a conquered territory, and he looks at Delta as people who have been conquered. And so that's why he will not show up for the debate, because Sheriff did not show up. But Kempela has presented himself just like his Oga as well. Peter Obi, he is accountable, he is reliable, and the experience they are talking about is the experience of rigging, experience of corruption, experience of telling you go to court once they have done their work. So we don't need that experience with Kempela. We need someone with a clean slate who is willing to work. Then now, I want to, lastly, they talk about APC are saying Kempela is working with PDP. PDP now accused me that is indicted for 100 million. So you realize that all of these are propaganda because they needed the obedient vote. Now that Kempela is firing on, they are bringing all this propaganda. But I thank God the propaganda has all failed, and it is clear that both of them just needed the obedient vote. That was why they are bringing conflicting propaganda. One thinking that is with APC, one thinking that Kempela is with PDP, which is a false accusation.
Okay. I think on that, yes, on this note, I think I really want to thank you, gentlemen. Do we still have Amioku in the house?
Yes, very well in the house, please.
Okay, Amioku, at this point, I want you, having listened to the various candidates, their representatives, I want you to just draw the curtain in 1 minute so we can bring this program to, a close.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the outcome of the presidential election, especially in Delta State, has shown that the people are not the employers of the politicians, are not the godfathers. It is in the light of this, I want to encourage Delta to determine the next governor of this state by these 3 clear parameters that were given by Chinua Achebe. They should vote a leader with the right character, educational qualification, and background. It is only on that note we will have the leader that can transform Delta State, as I believe that the political space to be occupied by individuals who have the right character, educational qualification, and background to deliver transformative political leadership is completely absent in Delta State, and the electorates haven't listened to all the parties that have presented their candidates. So far, so good. They should use these parameters and criteria to determine among of these personalities who has the right character, educational qualification, and background to emerge as the leader, as the next governor of the state, knowing fully well now that the votes are counting and that they are not the employers of the politicians and not the godfathers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Amioku. And gentlemen, on this note, I really want to say a very big thank you to you all for honoring METV's invitation to be part of today's program. And just to inform the members of the public that METV is going to make an arrangement to have the other 3 political parties, their representatives, so we can have another session with them where they'll have to just do what we did today to speak to Deltans about their various candidates as a way of creating balance, of the equation. And on that note, I want to say that, like Amioku said, the ultimate power now resides with the people. There's so much of political enlightenment and cultivation at the moment. The power belongs to the people, and people are now getting to know this truth that power belongs to them. So come this Saturday 18th, let the best candidate emerge as a governor of Delta State. The best, the very best. And Amioku has given the features, the characteristics of what the best should be. So let Deltans decide and put the best in place. Thank you very much once again, gentlemen. And if you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly do so and follow us for more stories in days to come. Thank you very much once again, Comrade Councillor. Thank you, Comrade Moses Dara. Thank you, and Amy Sogegere. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Amioku, thank you so much. God bless you.
My pleasure. You're welcome, sir.
All right. Bye for now.